Every civilization, no matter how powerful, eventually arrives at a moment when the institutions that created its greatness begin to struggle beneath the weight of that very success. By the 1st century BCE, Rome had become the dominant power of the Mediterranean. Its armies had defeated kings, its laws governed distant provinces, and its influence extended farther than earlier generations could have imagined. To the outside world, the Roman Republic appeared unshakable. Its citizens, however, knew better. Political life had grown increasingly bitter. Elections were marred by corruption. Public office had become a contest not merely of ideas, but of wealth, influence, and personal ambition. Violence, once considered an extraordinary measure, had begun to find a place within ordinary politics. The Republic still possessed its laws, its Senate, and the traditions that had guided it for centuries. Increasingly, it lacked the unity that had once given those institutions their strength. History rarely announces the beginning of an age, while those living through it are still unaware. Only in hindsight do certain generations appear to stand at the threshold of profound change. It was into such a Rome that Julius Caesar was born, not into a republic at the height of its confidence, but into one already beginning to wrestle with questions it could no longer postpone. Questions about power, about authority, and about whether the old order still possessed the strength to preserve itself. Julius Caesar was born in 100 BCE into the Julian family, one of Rome's oldest patrician houses. Tradition traced its ancestry to Iulus, the son of Aeneas, and through him to the goddess Venus herself. Whether such claims belonged more to mythology than to history mattered little. In Rome, ancestry carried a weight all its own, yet noble birth did not guarantee influence. By the time Caesar entered public life, his family possessed prestige, but comparatively little political power. If he wished to leave his mark upon the Republic, he would have to do so through his own abilities. Those abilities revealed themselves early. He was educated in rhetoric, philosophy, and law, disciplines the Romans regarded not as ornaments of learning, but as instruments of public life. To persuade was to govern. To speak well was to wield power. His path, however, was interrupted almost before it had begun. When the dictator Sulla demanded that the young Caesar divorce his wife for political reasons, Caesar refused. The decision cost him his inheritance and nearly his life. Forced into hiding, he escaped Rome until Sulla's influence had passed. Ancient writers would later claim that Sulla, reluctantly sparing the young man, warned those around him that there were many Mariuses within Caesar. Whether those exact words were ever spoken cannot now be known. What is certain is that Rome had not yet met the man history remembers. Julius Caesar had not crossed the Rubicon. He had not conquered Gaul. He had not reshaped the Republic. For the moment, he remained only another young Roman noble. History, however, was already beginning to move in his direction. The Roman Republic rewarded achievement, but it rarely rewarded it without demanding something in return. By the time Julius Caesar reached middle age, he had risen steadily through Rome's public offices, earning distinction as an orator, a politician, and a commander. Yet reputation alone could not satisfy the ambitions of Roman politics. Influence required wealth. Wealth required opportunity. That opportunity arrived in 58 BCE, when Caesar assumed command of Roman forces in Gaul. What followed would occupy the better part of a decade. Through a succession of campaigns, Caesar extended Roman rule across much of what is now France and Belgium, crossed the Rhine into Germanic territory, and twice led expeditions across the Channel into Britain. Each victory expanded the frontiers of the Republic. Each victory also expanded the reputation of the man who commanded its armies. There is an old observation that victories have a way of changing not only the fate of nations, but the expectations placed upon those who achieve them. By the time Caesar prepared to return to Rome, he was no longer merely another successful general. His soldiers had followed him through years of hardship and came to regard him with extraordinary loyalty. His name had become known throughout the Republic. Admirers saw in him Rome's greatest living statesman. His rivals saw something altogether more dangerous. The Republic had long entrusted immense power to its generals. It had never fully answered the question of what should happen when one of them became too successful to ignore. That question awaited Caesar on the banks of a small river in northern Italy. Its name was the Rubicon. In January of 49 BCE, Julius Caesar arrived at the banks of the Rubicon, a modest river marking the boundary between his province and Italy itself. Roman law was unambiguous. No governor was permitted to lead an army across that frontier. To do so was to declare war upon the Republic. Caesar crossed. Ancient writers record that, at that moment, he uttered the words, "The die is cast." Whether those were his exact words is uncertain. What is beyond dispute is that, once the river had been crossed, there could be no return to the world that had existed before it. The civil war that followed drew the Republic into conflict with itself. Roman fought Roman. Former allies became enemies. The struggle ended only after Caesar defeated Pompey, the most formidable of his rivals, and emerged as the undisputed master of Rome. Victory granted Caesar powers no Roman had possessed before him. He introduced reforms that reached into nearly every corner of public life. He reorganized government, relieved debt, expanded citizenship, and even gave Rome a new calendar, one whose influence still orders our lives today. By every visible measure, Caesar had prevailed. Yet history has often shown that a man may win every battle placed before him, while quietly approaching the moment that will define his life more than any of his victories. That moment was already approaching. Power has always possessed a curious quality. The more completely it gathers around one individual, the more divided become the opinions of those who witness it. To some, such power appears necessary, even inevitable. To others, it begins to resemble something altogether different. By the final years of the Roman Republic, Julius Caesar had become precisely such a figure. Few questioned his ability. Many questioned whether any one man should possess so much authority. The Republic had endured for centuries, not because it trusted extraordinary men, but because it distrusted them. The tension between those two ideas could not endure forever. On the 15th day of March, Remembered ever since as the Ides of March, Caesar entered a meeting of the Senate. He would never leave it. Ancient accounts differ in their details. They disagree over words spoken, over gestures made, and over Caesar's final moments. They agree on only one thing. By the end of that day, Julius Caesar lay dead beneath the blades of men who believed they were saving the Republic. Whether they succeeded remains one of history's enduring questions. For in attempting to preserve the old order, they may instead have ensured that it would never return. History has often shown that the consequences of an event become visible only with the passing of time. Those who witnessed the assassination of Julius Caesar could not have known that they were observing not merely the death of a man, but the closing years of a political order that had governed Rome for nearly 5 centuries. The conspirators believed that by removing Caesar, they had preserved the Republic. Yet the years that followed brought only further civil wars, until Caesar's adopted son, Octavian, finally emerged as Rome's first emperor. The Republic survived in name for a time, but the world into which Caesar had been born had passed beyond recovery. Empires, however, are not the only things that history preserves. Some men leave behind monuments, others leave behind laws, cities, or dynasties. On exceedingly rare occasions, a single human life becomes so deeply woven into the course of civilization that its influence continues long after every visible achievement has begun to fade. Julius Caesar belonged to that small company. His writings remain among the finest works of Latin literature to survive the ancient world. His reforms shaped Roman government for generations. Even the calendar that bears his name continues, in slightly altered form, to measure the passing of our own days. Perhaps most remarkably of all, his name gradually ceased to belong to the man himself. It became a title adopted by rulers who lived centuries after his death and governed lands he never knew. From Caesar came Kaiser. From Caesar came Tsar. Few legacies illustrate more clearly the strange ways in which history preserves the memory of extraordinary lives. More than 2,000 years have passed since Julius Caesar was carried from the Senate House. The Republic for which he fought and against which he fought has long since disappeared. The empire that succeeded it has likewise become history. Yet the name of Caesar continues to endure, not because history chose to remember the man alone, but because the civilization he helped transform never entirely escaped his shadow.